What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Six Gaming Podcast. Filling in for your host, as always, it's Ron Klee. Shosan is out, apparently having a relationship mandatory date.
That's, good to do.
Yes, but I mean, he could have picked a different night to do it, but I imagine he didn't pick the night.
I don't think so.
So probably not.
This is episode 158. These numbers are getting quite weighty, and I like that. It's pretty cool. We've been doing this long.
Well, at least we have something weighty on the podcast tonight.
Yeah, and it's not veg, that's for sure. Veg also out this week due to work. But we do have a couple of awesome and illustrious co-hosts. First, we'll start with Awesome, which is Mr. Bird Grabber.
Hi, I'm Bird Grabber. Not actually Bird Grabber, though.
You have all those birds in the background. And then, of course, Mr. Illustrious, who also happens to be awesome, is
I'm at least luminous, maybe.
At least luminous.
Hey man, when I joined I was the awesome.
You haven't hit the illustrious level of illustrious yet?
I have not hit the I might have. I think we figured out that it was one of the levels I never got to.
Oh,
I stalled out around like 68 or something like that.
Well, that's funny.
It's levels when you can zap people. Anyway, hi.
Yep, we got Dan Pantherian and Sentry Grabber, and we have a lot of news because, hey, it's been 2 weeks since we've done this. Apparently, nobody could figure out how to stream last week. Hi, guys. OBS is hard.
Show
doesn't know.
You get OBS. Divorced because you're on your phone during your date.
Aren't you on a freaking date show, son?
Oh my God!
I'm gonna murderate you.
What are you doing, dude?
I don't know what he's doing. He's in big trouble. He's in trouble. He's so screwed. Anyway, we're going to start off the show. I'm sorry, I'm cracking up over the thought of Shosan at a movie on his phone while he should be watching the movie with his wife is just
too much.
Honey, turn off your phone.
Okay,
turn off your phone.
We're gonna start off the show the way that we always do, and show if you could type in chat what this section is, because nobody does it like he does, and I think even he's got to be that guy. Okay, so he's out here. So this is his favorite part of the show. This is news, where we talk about all the news, and we are going to start a brand new segment this week.
Thanks, Joe.
And did he do it?
Yeah, he did.
Yes. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. And so this is the Six Gaming number of days since an Overwatch Pro has been suspended. And that is actually a double-digit number for the first time in a while. It's at 13.
Holy crap.
But 13 also means that something's happened since the last time we've come on here. So, Dan, what the heck did this guy do?
Had a relationship with a teenage girl that was like young teenage, like barely has the word teen in her age.
Oh God. And how old was this guy?
21.
Gee, what?
Yeah, so he had his
in what universe was that a good idea?
What?
Hey, you're like 14 and I'm 21. We should definitely be in a relationship.
I'm trying to remember. I saw an updated one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a second woman who also accused him of the same thing. He basically, she was 16.
Oh no.
Oh God, he's getting
he was on FaceTime and Messenger and Snapchat and stuff, and basically pressured her to send nudes and said she should come visit him and all kinds of shit.
He's not been on social media since this came out.
Yeah, and it's not one of those situations where like you've got there's a fan who's like, ooh, I like you so much. How old are you? I'm 18. I just look young for my age. It wasn't like that. She's like, oh, I'm 14. Oh, okay.
That's totally acceptable.
You look old for your age.
Fine. That's perfectly fine. Oh my God. Yeah. So Dream Casper of the Boston Uprising was accused of these allegations. He was suspended by the team on the 8th and then cut on the 9th when the second woman came forward. And yeah, I mean, I hate feeling like we're picking on Overwatch pros because we have talked about other esports prior, like we talked about the guy who won the Madden tournament. We've talked about Vasily not too long ago from League of Legends. But lately, I mean, this league is only 4 months old.
Yeah.
And just it seems like every other
There've been
week.
4 or 5 people. Now, some of them have been like, I can see they want to control. It's a new product, right? They're launching a new product. They need to keep it wholesome isn't the right word, but they need to control their brand image, right? Like if they've got guys using racial slurs in today's world and in an ideal world, in my opinion,
right,
you shouldn't be doing that on air. If you're representing this brand, you shouldn't. And even if you kind of use it in jest or whatever, or as a as sort of like a habit, like that's something that when you are a professional person in a media spotlight, you just learn not to do.
Yep. And of course, this another thing is the suspension came when our previous counter was at 4. So I mean, it's just silly how often this kind of stuff happens. So hopefully, this is a trend that stops soon because I don't like it. I feel like it's going to start giving esports a bad name. Granted that real sports have this stuff happening, but not at this clip. This is ridiculous.
Right.
So
there have been some years where you find out every 2 weeks there's a football player who did something worse than use a racial slur, but it's not. It's
I'd like
been
to
a
make
while
the argument that since most of this stuff is online, it's a lot easier to get a hold of.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier for the news to spread. If it's just like some guy who used a spin dial phone calling up
like
the girl, then
or if he said some shit at a bar, right, and no one had their phone out to record it,
then it's like it's your word against theirs. And it's when you have chat logs and you've got an actual screenshot of a text saying, "I'm going to beat up that slur, racial slur, etc., etc." It's a lot harder to. It's a lot easier to spread.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, we have a loot box story. This one about South Korea's Fair Trade Commission has found 3 companies guilty of deceptive in-game item sales, with Nexon taking the brunt of this. Their fine was $875,000. Sudden Attack is the game that causes this, and it says the evolution of #1 FPS is the name of kind of like the tagline of the game. But apparently, what happens is that you get like 16 puzzle pieces that you put together, and when you put the pieces together, you get a reward. Well, apparently, some of the pieces were so rare they would appear as little as 0.5% chance. So it's kind of like the Monopoly game you play at your grocery store, where you have like 3 pieces you need to get, and 2 of them are like super common, but the one is like ultra rare. And South Korea is a bad idea. So they all got and anyone
like
doing stuff like that, you know, they're getting fined.
I read an article recently. I think Sky posted it to the IKEA Facebook, but it was something. There's some fate
Grand Order.
Yeah,
Grand Order. Yeah, we've talked about that one before. In fact, I told you I know a guy that spent like 4 or 5 digits,
right? So
US dollars on the game.
There's actually, I guess their like unofficial mascot is this like little chibi girl who spends all of her money buying gacha.
Yep.
And like they're making fun of their player base, and the player base are like, we love her. Like people know that's what they're doing, and they do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I mean, if that's what you want to spend your money on, but like we've talked about, there's a lot of people spending money they don't have, and should these people be protected from that? And whatever this, the Korean Fair Trade Commission decided that they should have some protections against that.
Yep. So, well, there you go. Moving on from that, we have, well, you guys remember Ninja not too long ago. He had, among others, Drake on his stream playing Fortnite with him. This caused him to leapfrog over the previous #1 Twitch streamer, who is CLG's Summit1G. And so Summit1G is like, well, I can't have this. I need to get someone huge on my stream. And so he got Jake Paul.
Oh, boy. I'm sure that went well.
I don't know who that is.
Do you know who Logan Paul is?
He's Wolverine, right?
No, hold on a second. Hold on a second, Dan. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you.
He's Wolverine, right?
Jesus Christ. No, Logan Paul's that YouTube guy that was like talking about someone suiciding, and he had his YouTube stuff.
Oh,
taken from
you
him
a
and
bit more
stuff.
Yeah,
detail
okay.
on that
He's
if
the
you really
jerk
wanna know.
face that we wanted to get banned from YouTube. Got it.
Jake Paul is his brother who does similar shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He actually
Totally the same as Drake.
yeah, totally the same as and his Summit 1G's chat pretty much was very upset with us. It had like the exact opposite effect of what was happening. And during his stream, Summit 1G was so angry, he actually started lashing out at his subscribers for doing this. And his apologies just kind of seemed very half-baked to me. He says, this was his apology. He says, I don't think it's necessarily me playing with Jake Paul that caused the issues. I think it was my poor response to chat's response. People make me out to be this awful person and shit like that. I don't really see it that way. I'm not going to apologize for playing with the people I play with at all. Dude, I can play with OJ Simpson, and you know what, dude? That's my choice, and you guys choose whether you want to watch that or not.
I'd watch that.
I did. I might
Stream
watch it
from
too.
prison.
He says, but I will apologize for is my response, the way I acted towards some of my subs, but mostly how I acted on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he's kind of apologizing, but not apologizing for his choices.
Sersky says Jake Paul is also on Disney Channel. Apparently, they
Yeah,
are.
I believe.
Yeah, he
Otherwise,
used to be on
friends.
Disney.
Yeah. So kind of weird stuff there.
I have a quick comment about that website that the news article is hosted on. Every time I click on it, it loads all of the videos at once and blasts my ears with the sound.
Well, get Chrome 66, and you won't have to deal with that anymore.
I found that Firefox lately has been much better.
Chrome 66 actually disables auto playing videos.
Really?
I think
Yeah.
Firefox is doing that too.
So
It doesn't need my memory.
Neat.
and Dan's favorite game put out by Bungie is getting another expansion next month.
Yeah.
Favorite game. Yeah, Destiny 2 is launching another expansion. Warmind,
Another
May
expansion.
8th. We'll have to see what kind of bad stuff they do this time around. It's like I'm almost expecting it.
Yeah, I mean, supposedly they're fixing it finally, but like, I don't really want to talk about it a whole lot more. It's just if they made the whole first game and they had problems, and then they got to Vault of Glass that everyone talked about was like the bestest thing ever, and everyone's like, you fixed all the problems, and then they made Destiny 2,
Mm-hmm.
and they just like put all the problems back in it, and I don't understand what. Like, I know, I'm sure there's some kind of like corporate interference or something. Like there's management saying we need to make our money on microtransactions, blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't excuse all the other bad things about it. Like they could have had the Eververse and still had a good game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand what from I'm a product development engineer, right? Like, I don't understand how you don't start out your project saying, here's the list of all the shit that we learned in the last project, and here's how we don't do those things again. And if you find that you can't make a new product without doing those things, then maybe you don't need to make another product. Rouge said Destiny 2 needs to have a battle royale mode. I would probably uninstall it to screw around with the battle royale mode if they did it well, because I already own the game. I would not buy it to do that, but I'd play it.
True. Moving on, we have, oh boy, Twin Galaxies finally coming to a decision on one Mr. Billy Mitchell. And Billy Mitchell is banned. His records are removed from the Twin Galaxies site, which means that he'll also be removed from the Guinness Book of World Records as well, since that's where they get their source from. They decided that his videos were not legit, and since he was caught cheating, he's gonna get the boot. Now, Billy Mitchell did put out a video earlier this week. I didn't post this in the news, but he put out a video saying that he's still going to fight this. He thinks that the allegations against him are unfair, and he's looking to prove his innocence. But he says he's not ready to show it yet, but they're working on it. So this is not the end of the story by any stretch.
Orbo had
Trust me,
a perpetual motion machine too, but they weren't ready to show that until they ran away with all the investors' money.
Trust
Yeah.
me, guys. Trust me. These allegations are definitely false. I can't prove it just yet. but
Believe
trust
me.
I'll figure
Believe
something
me.
out.
Wait.
Believe me.
Why does this feel like the White House?
There's white in my house back here.
Yeah. So I would expect this to continue to drag on. A lot of people are expecting what Billy's going to come back with is very similar to I forget the other guy's name, the dragster guy, where it's just a lot of people
RuPaul?
saying things, not the. Christ, Dan! Why do you make me do this? Why do you make me do this?
Is there a record for how many face palms in a single episode?
I think it's like 6. It's up there. It's a large number. It's a number that's higher than it should be. What the hell was that guy's name? Dragster world record. Hell's his name? I don't see his name. Todd Rogers. And yeah, apparently
That's Captain America, right?
The what?
Captain America.
Todd Rogers is the guy who said he got 5.51 seconds in Dragster.
Oh no, he's the chicken guy.
And also
the singer that would have the chicken.
You're trying too hard.
restaurant?
Stop.
You're trying too hard.
Yeah, you're trying too hard at this point. But yeah, apparently Billy Mitchell's in cahoots, whatever the word is, with that guy, and a lot of people think that his response is going to be is going to be very much like Todd Rogers was, which is just going to be a lot of he said, she said, no real proof. So if that
No, but
happens,
trust me, guys.
no one's expecting him to be reinstated anytime soon. So we'll see what happens. Todd Rogers, King of Kong, he's kind of in trouble here. So meanwhile, we have a story about this CD Projekt Red game, Gwent. Dan, what's this about?
So unlike Bungie, CD Projekt Red does everything that their customers want for the most part. Their customers are like, "Hey, we'd really like them to do this," and CD Projekt's like, "Okay," and then they do it. So basically, Gwent, the standalone game, which is on GOG, quite fun if you enjoyed playing Gwent. Inside Witcher 3, it's a expansion on that. There's a lot more. So in Witcher 3, there are a number of cards. Like if you play them next to each other, they have multiplicative powers, and so it's kind of like that, except even more so. You can manually kind of drop your cards where you want, and so it'll be like, cards to the left of this card get bonuses, cards to the right of this card get weaknesses or whatever. So you have to decide where in your line you place it, or so on and so forth. There are 3 rows: your close combat, your range, and your siege weaponry. And so some people are like, it's a little too complicated and there's too many card interactions. And not that they want to simplify it, but that it would be easier for newcomers. And it would also remove some issues that people have with some certain interactions that are basically overpowered, but they're hard to fix without screwing other stuff up. So they may switch the game to having 2 rows instead of 3. They're going to change, but they're going to make it more important. So the front row or the back row or whatever, they're going to make things easier to read. They're going to make coin flips. Like right now, if you go second, it's way more advantageous. So they're going to balance that out. There's a whole bunch of stuff they're going to do that people have wanted, and they're like, yep, these are the things we're going to do. And they have built up a reputation where they'll probably do it. They're not like coming soon TM. They'll probably take care of this stuff and make it happen. Ruruch, who said rename it Hearthstone. No, that's Magic the Gathering Arena. That is the Hearthstone.
Very much so. Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna move on to console stuff. And first of all, I want to say consoles. Yes, I'm gonna say that Joshua Rhett Miller is going to be my hero this week. because he put a story out in the New York Post. And first of all, let me talk about the story itself. The story is basically a gentleman who named Julian Turner went to a flea market in Georgia and picked up a couple of Nintendo games, a Nintendo Entertainment System, old school games, right?
NES cartridges.
Yeah. And the games were roller games, which I never played, and golf, which I was fucking phenomenal at, by the way, back in the day. Really good at that. And like I'd have like a minus 21 on an 18-hole course.
Nice.
It was a fun game. But yeah. And he gets them home and realizes these cartridges are heavier than normal NES cartridges. So he opens them up and finds in each of these cartridges there's 2 packages of stuff with a white substance in it that later he learned was heroin. Joshua Rhett Miller, first line of his article says, "Now that's a high score." Well played, sir. Well played. I'm just mad because I didn't think of it first. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really good. It is that good. He says the games were packing more than 8-bit graphics. Yep, they sure. My wife is booing over here. I don't know what her deal is. I think that's funny
She
as hell.
doesn't have a sense of humor
Clearly,
solely.
yes, indeed. And then onto the Xbox One X and other consoles. You know how you
and
get those?
honestly, anything.
Yeah, and other consoles. Xbox One X.
No, I mean like anything.
Oh,
I don't
really?
think it's not
This
just
isn't just
consoles.
games.
It's like any
Really?
kind of any product, electronics product.
All right, so
like
you know how you
phones.
have instructions on or stickers on electronics that say warranty void if removed.
Yes.
Apparently those are now illegal.
Really?
Yes. So basically the idea being that if that sticker's gone, hey, you probably opened the thing up and modified what's inside. We're not going to support it anymore. But yeah, the stickers themselves, for whatever reason, they're going after stickers, are considered illegal. They're violating something called the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act. And it specifically states no warrantor of a consumer product may condition his written or implied warranty of such product on the consumer's using in connection with such product. I don't even know what these words are meaning. It's just like, it's basically you can't put a sticker on it. That's what they say. 6 companies have been warned with regards to consoles. Both Microsoft and Sony are guilty of this. So I guess we're going to stop seeing these. I don't know. It's interesting though, because I mean, these things are designed to protect the manufacturers from having to repair something that they may not know what's wrong with it because someone went in and modified it. It's like, what the heck?
I'm reading through this thing here, no warrantor of a consumer, etc. I think it's just really saying is you can't make someone lose the warranty on your product if using the product avoids the warranty. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm not a lawyer. I should clarify.
So yeah, I feel like we've talked about loot boxes already today, but we have more loot box news, and this is coming from good old Nintendo. I see Dan's away; he's not going to get to say his trademark line. That's just unfortunate. But basically, so there's a game called Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. Of course, Animal Crossing series pretty huge. It's basically it's a free to play smartphone game, but they have added randomized loot box style payments to speed up normal gameplay.
That's disappointing.
That is very disappointing. They call them fortune cookies. Contains random items from specific, exclusive, and time-limited sets. You can get them from what they call a premium fortune cookie. You can get furniture, clothing, other things, but you can also get duplicate items. So it's no good.
Yeah. That's disappointing.
Probably. And since Dan's not here, I'm going to say his favorite line: Nintendo gonna Nintendo. Nintendo gonna Nintendo. I'm sorry, Dan. You missed it. You walked away at the wrong time.
Yeah, it's your fault. It's his fault.
It's his fault. And going on to other game series, we have the next Call of Duty is going to be multiplayer only. No solo campaign. And they may even go. They may even go the Battle Royale route. We won't know for sure until the community reveal event on May 17th. The game will launch October 12th of this year. So
the game is basically Players Unknown Call of Fortnite.
Player Unknown Call of Fortnite. That's yeah. Apparently, Battle Royale stuff is taking off. 4. I mean, this isn't the only game going that way.
Well, yeah, but
I think the big reason behind that, a lot of people love this stuff. I mean, it's interesting. I've watched some Fortnite and PUBG in the past. It seems interesting. I just don't think I'd enjoy that game style personally because you're only going to win statistically 1% of the time.
Well, if anyone didn't believe how popular Fortnite is, Fortnite, which is currently at the top of Twitch's viewed games, has more viewers than I think the next 15 combined.
Yeah, it's insane. Fortnite
500,000 viewers.
Yep.
Through all this.
And it's so popular that this gentleman, Anton Williams from Greensboro, North Carolina, decided that he was going to continue to play Fortnite through a tornado.
Through a tornado.
Here's a good selection of what he said to local reporters. Says he's sitting at home playing Fortnite. All of a sudden, he hears a bunch of noise and he looks out the window and starts seeing the roof coming off of houses in front of me. Then I sit back down because I only have a couple people left in my game. He's going to try to finish the game, but then start getting worse and start seeing power lines coming down. And at that point, he made sure his family was safe in the bathroom. But he was thinking more about the game than he was anything else. He didn't end up finishing it. It's just insane that these people are so wired to get that chicken dinner that they want to just do whatever they can to finish the game, even through life-threatening situations. I think that's more on the player than it is the game, because a lot of games have that big reward, that the feeling of accomplishment that comes with winning something, and when something like a big life-threatening weather event happens, you're not gonna worry about winning, but this guy apparently did. So he's kind of wired up a little wrong, I would think.
Didn't we have a thing about a guy who played through an earthquake?
We did a while back. It was through an earthquake. I don't remember what it was, but yeah. And you guys are aware of a particular advertiser that appears in video games, especially mobile games. I see this all the time in Tetris Blitz. The game Wish, or the company Wish.
Yeah, they just have
a
bunch of
trillion times
shitty products for the
Wish
most part.
used to be a competitor of a job I worked for.
Yep.
And Wish won. Let's put it that way. So apparently, somehow, they managed to bypass some kind of filter that they had, and they would have some advertisements for penis extenders showing up in these games.
Did you say extender?
I said extender, yes.
Didn't realize there was a market for that.
There's a market for that, and apparently the audience is video game players.
Hey, what are they implying?
I have no idea. Yeah, that's kind of funny. So, yeah, it's kind of shitty that they can't figure out that kind of filtering, or that they even have that kind of shit in their app.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to skip over this next one. I'm going to lump that a little further down. But continuing with Fortnite, we had a little Fortnite earlier. Epic accidentally rebalanced their game simply by changing the flag on a couple of the weapons that indicates the quality of the weapon.
Yep.
Really?
They didn't change anything else about it. Drop rates, damage, nothing changed about the weapons.
They just made one green and one blue, and then swapped the blue to green or whatever it was.
Yep. Basically, the pump shotgun shifted up, kills increased by 36%, and the tactical shotgun shifted down, and the kills decreased by 23%. This happened on March 28th. And I mean, it's just insane. I mean, it's just like you see the two lines, they go like this and then swap.
Yep, I just put the tweet in chat.
It's very interesting that something that simple leads to that kind of change. And I see why after watching the game. I mean, you don't really spend a lot of time looking at the weapon. You spend more time, okay, this is a high quality weapon, I'm going to use it.
Yep, that's your snap judgment. It's the one that's high versus the one that's low.
Yep, and sometimes World of Warcraft. Hey, I'm going to use this one because it's 50 eye levels higher, even though the 150 eye levels lower is better. So stuff like that. Yeah, it's kind of cool. And moving on, we got a little bit of Blizzard news here. It's kind of funny because my wife told me about this earlier, and I'm like, who's that? And then I had to really think about it to remember where I recognize this guy from. Ben Brode is leaving Blizzard.
Who?
He's the director for Hearthstone.
Oh.
And he's going to be setting up a new venture. No idea what it is, but he was on the original launch team for the card game. That was not. This game hasn't been around for 10 years, has it?
Hearthstone?
When was Hearthstone? There's no way it's been around for 10 years.
Hearthstone was released 2014, March 11th.
Yeah, they've been working on it for maybe a decade, but it hasn't been around for 10 years.
Yeah, no, only 4.
But yeah, he says he's totally leaving on good terms. He said Hearthstone brought their family closer together, or they became close friends with people they met. And they were inspired by Hearthstone to become game developers themselves. And he says it's incredible to be a part of something that touches so many people. So, yeah, he's, like I said, leaving on good terms. Going to help start a new company, probably make games, but we haven't figured anything else out. So he's looking forward to creating again. So good luck to him. I think Hearthstone will be pretty fun without him. Should be good. Also, another thing that I wanted to bring up, and this is kind of something that developed over the last 2 weeks, because I remember when I was headed to Calithon, I think it was on Thursday, and I'm on the train and I'm checking my Twitter account and I see somebody saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be going watch this stream." And I'm in this stream called Bully Hunters, and chat is just being so entirely toxic. And I'm like, what the hell is Bully Hunters? I don't even know what it is. So I looked it up. Bully Hunters is a Chicago organization that had intended to basically help find players who were being harassed in game and send in some amazing professional level female gamers into their game, wipe out the bully, and leave their calling card saying harassment is not a game. And apparently, while well intended, the group behind this had no experience with any of what they were doing. They just had an idea and executed on their idea without any planning, without anything. They ended up getting Steel Series to back them, which is also a Chicago organization. And Steel Series kind of backed away once things went south. So what went wrong with their lack of organization? It's apparently the stream where they showed some of this happening was entirely scripted and very obviously scripted. And nobody ever said it was scripted. Like it was played off to be a real thing. And we're going to talk a little more about this later, but yeah, they had a couple people from a company called FCB Chicago running this, and they almost feel like that this project ended up making the problem worse because of how bad they presented the whole thing. So, but yeah, they had a stream. They talked about harassment for females in video games and stuff like that. And like I said, we'll talk about this later. We got a lot of a lot of things to talk about in the roundtable, so we'll go on to that. And then a couple other things. We had a change to the Steam privacy system, and their API eventually killed Steam Spy. Like Steam Spy shut down completely. It's gone. It doesn't exist.
Damn.
Steam Spy, of course, let you see things like how many active players there were and stuff like that. But basically what happened was Steam decided, okay, we're not going to have people's games lists in the API anymore. They have to specifically turn it on. And that just basically killed Steam Spy right off. That their source of data was just gone overnight. So unfortunate for them. We had a pretty positive story, though. There is you guys know I'm a big Niantic fan in terms of Ingress. Their other game, Pokemon Go, is also very popular, even though I'm not a Pokemon fan. But basically, a woman was playing Pokemon Go and was directed towards a park. And in the park, she found a lost 83-year-old man who's diagnosed with dementia, who, he had no idea what he was doing there. And she found this guy, and he ended up getting reunited with his family. So, still pretty good story coming out with Pokemon Go. Kind of contrast to what we've had recently with people being a little violent over the game. Kind of sucks, but yeah, that's pretty good for her. And then we had, nice. Yep. Then we have two kind of unfortunate stories here. You guys all know Total Biscuit. He's back in the hospital with his cancer. It's beyond the point of chemo. So he's trying some kind of clinical trial, but I mean, that's the point that he's at. But what really made me, respect this guy a lot is that his Twitter post that he puts here says, it took them a lot of messing to pain manage. We know what the cause is, unfortunately, which is the spread of the disease putting pressure on my spine. He's more angry at his back specialist for completely missing it, but he says it means chemo doesn't work anymore. The only options left are very poor ones, so I'm moving straight to a clinical trial I'm eligible for. Won't be any quit here while I still have options to try. Love that line. This guy's not going to quit. He's not going to quit. So good luck to the cynical Brit. Hopefully, you never know what's going to happen, but cancer sucks. We all know that. And then one other it's kind of somewhat related to gaming. Vern Troyer, best known as Mini-Me in the Austin Powers series, passed away earlier today at the age of 49. He was also in a World of Warcraft commercial, if you guys remember that.
I do not.
It was hilarious because he says, World of Warcraft is huge, just like my mage. And they show him he's a gnome. This commercial's funny as hell. But yeah, that guy's pretty badass. And just... he had a long battle with depression, and while there's no cause,
no, they had on his Facebook thing, they basically his sister, I think, somebody wrote on his Facebook thing that they said about suicide and depression or whatever. So
yeah, he had a lot of trouble with depression. It was a known thing with him. Just very unfortunate. Depression makes you think you're not important when maybe you actually are.
Yeah.
Feels bad, man. Feels bad. So anyway, and that's going to do it for news. Dan, you missed your line, by the way.
What?
Nintendo?
They got Nintendo.
Yeah. Figured you'd want to say that. Moving on to the Overwatch League. I've actually watched a little bit of the Overwatch League, and we're kind of waiting for the Shanghai Dragons to get their first win. For those that don't know, the Shanghai Dragons are the team that got Giguri, the female pro, and apparently she herself has been doing very well. She's probably one of the strongest players on her team, but it hasn't translated to a win yet. They are still sitting 0-6 for stage 3. That puts them something like 0-26 overall. So hopefully they've played a few of the bottom teams. They've already played Florida. I believe they played San Francisco earlier. They've played Seoul not too long ago and just barely lost that one. So hopefully they'll come out soon. But meanwhile, on top in stage 3, Boston 6-0. They've gotten to the top. New York 5-1, tied with the Valiant. And San Francisco is in the top 4, which is interesting. They're 4-2 so far in stage 3. So we'll see. And it's just so you know, the playoffs are now 4 teams instead of 3 for stage 3. They changed that, so that would put San Francisco above the line. We'll see how it works out. And I believe League is in the middle of trying to figure out who's going to MSI, so not a whole lot to report over there. So unless you guys have anything else, I think that's going to do it for news. Long news segment this week, but there's a lot to cover. So we're going to move on. And this is, guys, I don't know if Show is still in chat.
No, he left.
No, he's
I doubt it.
I don't know. It shows that he's still here. So,
Well,
So
not on mine.
but I would hate it if he missed his favorite part of the show. Boom! It's a playlist. Dan, what you been playing?
So I played. So last night, well, this morning, I guess technically at midnight, I went to the pre-release for Return to Dominaria for Magic. I got mana screwed in a few games and would have won them, I think, but I ended up going 0-2-2, which not the worst finish I've ever had.
2-2.
Yeah, so I lost 2 games, I lost 2 matches and I drew 2 matches.
I didn't know you could draw in Magic. I thought
So-
eventually you run out of your deck and it's game over.
You do, but in a format, the way that it works is you have 50 minutes per match. I think it's 50 minutes,
Mhm.
but however long the format is, you have a certain amount of time per match. When that time runs out, if you have not completed your third game, if you've not completed all of your games, whichever game you're on, the active player is now turn 0, and you have 5 turns to complete the game.
Mhm.
And if at the end of the 5th turn, and it's not 5 turns, so if I'm the active player, it's my turn right now. Turn 0, turn 1 is you, turn 2 is me, turn 3
Right.
is. So at the end of turn 5, if the game is not complete, that game is a draw, and presumably, I mean, I guess if it's your second game somehow, if player 1 won one game and then player 2 drew the second, and you drew the second game, then I guess player 1 wins the match. I'm not actually sure how that
Right.
works, but typically what it's always been is, 1 win, 1 loss, and then you play out the last one and you don't finish it. So I won a couple packs for prize support, and it was fun. I had a couple of things that worked okay for me, but my card pool was awful. In my last game, in my last match, I won the first game, and I almost won the second game, and I would have won that match, but I had him down to 3, and he stole one of my creatures with a lifelink.
Womp womp.
And so that game ended up going because I already had like 40 something life, and I had him down to 3, and he stole that creature and got out a couple contact tricks and stuff, and basically it ended where that went to time because he got me down to 20 and himself up to like 15, and that game was not. If we would have played it out, I maybe would have held out and been able to take care of him, because I think I had 1 removal spell left in my deck, but I don't know if I would have by the end. So I played that. Played a bunch of Witcher 3 that I streamed yesterday.
Twitch.tv/Pantherian.
Yeah,
I need
thank
to play
you.
Witcher 3. My goodness.
Awesome.
I've had it for so long.
It's very good. I have like 180 hours in it now, which is probably one of my top played games.
Oh, I know it's good. I just haven't played it.
Yeah. Little bit of Baldur's Gate. Still trying to kind of finish that out. So I also played. I started The Witness just because I
Ooh.
wanted to mess around with it. I don't know how big the game is. Presumably much larger than the area I've explored. It's interesting. I like the way that they build on what you know to do more stuff, but it's frustrating that kind of puzzle. The part about the puzzles that I like is learning the trick. Like, I like the early puzzles and learning the trick. But when it gets to the point where they're just massive and it becomes tedious, it no longer entertains me. So it is what it is. I'll get back to that eventually. I'm not going to play a lot of it. I just wanted to try it out. Right now, for the next 2 days on Humble Bundle, there is the strategy bundle. And I recommend that if you like strategy games at all, you buy it. Even if you just get the $1 one, because the $1 one, if you don't already have it, brings Dungeon of the Endless Space Collection, Planetary Annihilation Titans, which I think is all right. And also the Company of Heroes 2 Whale and Dolphin Conservation Charity Pattern Pack. But mostly I'm talking about Dungeon of the Endless and Endless Space. Dungeon of the Endless is a pretty fun game, especially for $1. I played, I think, like 3 hours the other day. It's sort of a cross between a 4X game, FTL, and I mean, FTL is already a roguelite, so, but it's basically you crash land and there's like creatures on the ship, and you go from room to room. You like breach and clear the rooms, and then you have to distribute your energy to those rooms and build upgrades in each of those rooms to defend those rooms as you like move back and forth through them. So it's sort of turn-based. It doesn't exactly feel as turn-based as like a regular 4X game, but it's a lot of fun. It's from a few years ago, but for $1, I recommend it. And then, of course, at the Beat the Average, which is currently $6.89, there's Endless Legend and expansions, Total War Empire Collection. And at $12 or more, you get Endless Space 2, and also Tooth and Tail, which is a really cool looking pixel strategy game where you're like rats and mice and woodland creatures battling over shit, which I'm probably going to install soon. And then finally, I played the Beginner's Guide this week. It is by, I cannot recall his friggin' name.
Beginner's Guide? I think I played that.
It's the guy.
It's the same guy that did Stanley Parable.
Yes, Dave Redden, Davey Redden. So I'm not going to spoil it. It's very abstract in a way. Like Stanley Parable was just an interesting kind of experimental game that's, to me, it's about, so Stanley Parable to me is about the relationship between a player of a video game and the game itself. You expect there to be choices and the choices to matter, and the game kind of subverts that as a trope. The Beginner's Guide, I think, I mean, and you can interpret it different ways. It's sort of about the relationship between a creative, Priscilla in chat said he couldn't stop until he finished. I think I played it in one sitting. It's only a couple hours. It's sort of about the relationship between a person who's creating some kind of creative anything, like specifically a game in this case, but I think it could work for music or novels or whatever, and the consumer of that creative endeavor and or the critics of that creative endeavor. And it's a lot about how, by interpreting, I'm trying to say this carefully without spoiling anything about it. When you interpret other people's work, you are saying more about yourself than you are about the person's work. And it's just a very interesting take on it. It's, in my opinion, it's a little bit like, if you've ever read the original The Princess Bride, the original novel, it's kind of got, in my opinion, an in-joke very much like that. The idea that it's this collection of this person's games that Dave Redden is evaluating and showing to you, the player, and narrating over it. And whether or not this developer actually exists is in question. I don't think they do, and I haven't actually looked it up myself, but you can. I mean, it's quickly apparent that that's in question. Anyway, I really liked it. I don't know if it's still on sale on Steam, but it was like $4, and actually I think the pack was $4 of Beginner's Guide and Stanley Parable.
Well,
So
and Stanley Parable's a great game. If you haven't played that, pick it up.
yes, so for $12 for the whole Humble Bundle, and then those for about $4 for the cost of a fancy sushi lunch, you could be set for the next couple of months with gaming, especially if you really play a lot of the endless games. So.
Yep. All right.
Yep.
All right. Attention grabber. You've had 2 weeks to play games. What have you been playing, sir?
Yeah, and I've actually played real games instead of just Cuphead and Slay the Spire.
By the way, Cuphead was played at Calithon.
Cuphead's a real game.
And Calithon, did you know that there's an exploit on the, when you face the guy at the roulette table, one of the mini games that you get is against the monkey with the symbols.
Yeah, yeah.
You can glitch that game out by sending the monkey off screen.
Oh, dang.
And as soon as the monkey goes off screen, you automatically win.
Well, maybe it would have helped me beat King Dice because it took me a really long time.
Yeah, that fight's nuts.
Right now, I've just been working on S ranking all of the bosses in Cuphead. I want to say I'm a third to about halfway through getting S ranks on all the bosses. I've managed to S rank some of the harder ones just because I liked them so much that I wasn't angry when I was playing the game.
Nice.
Namely the robot. A lot of people have trouble with the robot, and I managed to S rank it. My birds agree. They think I'm great.
Yeah, you're so great.
I played Fallout 4.
You just grab everyone's attention.
Yeah, that's what I'm good at. I streamed and beat Fallout 4 by accident. I was just finishing a mission.
Congrats.
And I was like, okay, let's just turn in this mission. And then I was like, oh, I just beat it. Okay. I thought I could knock out a couple more days of this. Okay. But it turns out no. I've been playing Salt and Sanctuary a little bit. It was recommended to me by Ultimate Mawile.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to Dark Souls, except that it uses salt instead of souls. And it's a 2D side scroller instead of just a normal ass game, I suppose.
Have you played Hollow Knight?
Which
Hollow Knight? I have. It has been a while though. It's one of my games on my list to play.
It's similar to that.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. What else have I done? I played Risk of Rain with Squaga for a while.
Nice. It's a fun one. That was also at Calithon. I did not catch that though.
I should go watch a bunch of those videos.
Yeah.
We were playing. We both played the same character, the bounty hunter, I think it is. And we were playing with artifacts. One that gave us 500% more damage for 10% health, and one that let us choose which item we could take instead of getting random ones. And so once we both got the item that lets us spawn chests, we basically just sat there and gave ourselves money over time to continuously just keep spawning chests every couple minutes until we broke the game.
Well done.
By the end of it, we were just killing everything in one hit, rapid firing. It was great. I also played Star Wars Force Unleashed and its sequel, Star Wars Force Unleashed 2. A little disappointed, to be honest. I was expecting a little bit more, given that I've only ever seen like clips of the game from trailers. It was still fun though. Pulling a Star Destroyer spaceship out of the sky was pretty great. I was pretty hype.
Mm-hmm.
What else have I played? I played a little bit of Dead Cells. Not for very long. I had to leave before I could do anything. I played some more Monkey Island 2, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, I was actually telling him about it last Saturday when the podcast didn't happen. The game is
also OBS.
Funny. Yeah, I played a lot of OBS. I think that's it. I played a lot of Slay the Spire. It's just a really fun game that I'm looking back. I think in a few weeks, a few patches, they're going to release the third character.
Sweet.
I know that the patch today, if there was a patch today, the recent patch was like preparing for the third character, but it's currently only in the beta, and I don't want to go to the beta.
I hear you.
I played some Stronghold Crusader today. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I also played Dungreed. That's a game that I've been looking at for a while. It's very interesting. It's a standard like dungeon crawler, side scroller, roguelike.
Sweet.
But it's a little bit different. I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted though because it's moving by a little bit more slowly than I would have liked. Other than that and Deep Space Waifu, yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Deep Space what?
But huh?
Hold on, no, you need to talk about this. What is this?
Yeah, and also Deep Space Waifu. Anyway, let's move on.
Yes, let's move on. I don't want to talk about it. Deep Space Waifu. It's a shoot 'em up with anime waifus, and you shoot off their clothes. Do I really need to talk about this more?
Yes, you do.
Admittedly,
I'm looking this up now.
I got the game because of the name. Deep Space
Content
Waifu.
in this product may not be appropriate for all ages or may not be appropriate for viewing at work.
Yep.
Oh, geez. I accidentally started the video.
The
yeah,
best
it's
part,
the bundle
one of
is
the best-
$10, guys. Go get it.
the best part about this game is that it has a one-handed mode. Just letting you guys know.
So this is
Moving
just,
on.
Wait, so this is just what's Raiden or whatever the what's it called? The plain bullet. It's like it's a plain bullet hell, but it's got like anime hentai shit in the background.
Pretty much.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Enjoy it, guys.
I mean, overwhelmingly positive reviews. Can't be wrong.
I can't argue with that.
But besides that, yeah, that's all I've played.
All right. Well, obviously, as you guys know, last week, the reason why we didn't have the podcast is one, no one else other than me knows how to use OBS, and two, I was at Calithon, so I couldn't run the podcast. Calithon was fucking amazing. I was able to play Sublevel Zero at it Friday morning. It was like 4 a.m. Got a really nice 22-minute time on it. It was pretty fantastic. I also got to see runs for, like I said, Cuphead. I saw Mario Odyssey. I've never watched a Mario Odyssey game before. Looks very interesting. The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past randomizer co-op was hilarious fun. The two people playing, Voligen was one of them. I forget who the other one was. They started like squabbling at the end because they're supposed to be cooperating, but apparently they weren't communicating very well because they were too busy like commentating themselves. That was pretty cool. Got to see YP play Celeste. He seemed to be a little nervous. He was making some mistakes he probably normally doesn't, but it was still awesome to see Celeste getting run. I saw a whole bunch of neat games, way too many to list. Yeah, so talking about Sublevel Zero. So yeah, I'm going to a marathon, and 3 days before I go to the marathon, this one streamer by the name of Mr. Wax finds a bug in the game that allows you to shoot both of your primary weapons at the same time. And I'm like, dude, new tech in my game 3 days before a marathon. Okay, so I learned the tech, and I think it was the Tuesday before the marathon, I dropped my first sub 20 time. I got a 19:21. It was amazing. It was super fast. I didn't even get a tier 3 weapon, so it was kind of funny. But yeah, that was pretty cool. And then I played at the marathon. Like I said, got a 22-minute time. And then on I think it was Thursday, I've been contemplating getting a mouse for a while, and this was the one I ended up settling on. This one here.
I've been looking at that mouse for a while.
Logitech G502. It actually is the same one that my wife's had for a while. And I ended up getting it and learned to play the mouse like I did on my other mouse for 6 Degree Freedom Games, and sat down and I did a Sublevel Zero run, and I hit a world record at 1851, first sub 19 game. So yeah, this mouse is pretty good. Also played Descent. I did like a half-ass speed run of it. I got under an hour, but I wasn't recording it or timing it or anything. So the mouse has been very good to me so far. Other 6 Degree games, I also played Overload last week. Now I've been trying to stay really sharp with the 6 Degree genre since I was going to Calithon. But this week, I kind of took a break And on Monday, I played more Celeste. I got all the strawberries in chapters 1, 2, and 3. I'm wanting to do more either tomorrow or sometime next week. So there will be more Celeste. I am not done with this game yet. Then Creeper World 3, still working on the achievements there. It's going to be a while before I finish it. I'll just keep playing in the meantime. Next up, Hero dropped a huge patch a week and a half ago, and I've been playing the heck out of that. In fact, that's the game I've played the most the last couple of weeks.
Do you think it's worth picking up now? Or should I still wait?
I would wait for the next update. I think it's pretty good where it is. It's still got some pretty critical bugs, like there's out of bounds issues, stuff like that. But they added a new boss that was pretty awesome, and I had the most epic finish. They added these things called player dungeons, and basically what you do is you go in and you set up a dungeon. You set up all the levels, and depending on what you set up, it generates a reward. And the deal is that if no one beats your dungeon in 3 days, you get the reward. If not, if someone beats it, that player gets the reward. So there's like an incentive for it. And I went into someone's dungeon, and I ended up getting to the last boss with 7 health left. You start with like 130 or something. Depends on the hero. The one I was playing starts with like 130. And I got hit once by the final boss, but I had an ability that let me avert death. So I had 1 health for like 75% of a boss I have never seen before, and ended up finishing out the game and got the reward, which turned out to be a pretty nice one for one of the other characters I like playing. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, they've added a lot of stuff to it. There's a lot of people playing because they gave away a lot of stream keys to a lot of streamers. So there's been a kind of a big interest in it. And then the other game that I played, I streamed this pretty late last night. It's a new 6 Degree of Freedom game called Pixel Punk XL. It took me an hour and a half to 100% the game.
Not so long.
It's also $4 normally on Steam. It's 20% off during launch week. But it was interesting. There's a lot of things I like about it. And someone made a hilarious clip of me trying to run away from one of the kamikaze bots and failing. And it was just it was a lot of fun. So yeah, it's interesting because it's like 20 of the achievements you get at random. I didn't understand why. But there's a lot of randomness in the game. It's a roguelike. And like even your damage that you do is randomized. So it's an interesting game. If you're a 6 Degree Freedom fan, you'll like it. If not, try something else. That's all I gotta say. So that's gonna do it. And wow, we are running really late this week.
I imagine the long news segment was probably the reason.
Yeah, so
it happens.
It does happen sometime, but we do have we do have something for our third half of the show this week. This is, of course, is Shosan's favorite half of the show. This is the 6 Gaming Roundtable, where we're going to ask you guys a question about a gaming-related topic, and God damn it, you're going to give us an answer, or Shosan's going to come breathing fire at you or something. I don't know. He's angry.
I thought the last half was Shosan's favorite.
They're all his
They're
favorite.
all his favorite. Haven't you figured this out?
So all 3 halves of the
All
show are his favorite half.
3 halves of the show are his favorite half, yes.
Okay.
It's like a
I'm gonna start
3-way
thinking
tie
about
for
it.
first, is what it is. But yeah, this goes back to the subject that we had earlier with the bully hunters, and getting a little more into what that is like we said, it was basically, you know, if you're seeing harassment or you're being harassed, you and this is specifically for female gamers, you go to the bully hunters and they will send some players into your game to hunt down this player and, you know, basically make their lives miserable and leave their calling card behind that says harassment is not a game.
Yes. Eye for an eye.
Yeah. Now we went into the whole thing where that they completely did this wrong and their stream sucked and stuff like that. But my question for you is like, is there a place for this kind of retaliation in gaming?
I don't believe so. And if I
problem-
shut up, I'd be able to explain myself.
Go Birds.
So to make sure I understand this correctly, I'm a Pete. To make sure I understand correctly, the whole idea of the bully hunters is, like you've explained it, if you're being harassed in a game, you call them up and they send a person into that game to harass the bully.
It's essentially, I don't know if they harass them so much as just completely dominate them and destroy them, and then
Right, so
before
you
they
think
leave, they
Is
say,
that not just giving them what they want? Someone to react to them?
Sort of.
Mhm.
I think the bigger problem in this is that, and I think they've actually done studies, and I think it might have actually been linked in that article that Ron had originally posted, is that the studies show that if someone's being like a shitlord and being sexist or racist or whatever, and you make them angry, it doesn't, like, by having their position attacked, it doesn't make them say, oh, you are right, women can be good gamers too. It just makes them, it just reinforces their opinion that you're a bad person and like that women are shit and blah blah blah, or you know, whatever it is. It doesn't help, unfortunately. So this particular, the idea of this was not a bad one per se, but they didn't do their research in the right way to go about this. And we've talked about this all kinds of times in the last few years of companies that get into gaming stuff without really understanding what they're doing, and unfortunately ruining the thing that they had, which was probably a good idea, but they executed it poorly, and it's hard to come back from that.
I'm not so sure this was a good idea to begin with. I mean,
Not-
it seems like somebody came up with, wouldn't it be nice if,
Right,
and then
but
just
like,
ran with it.
but I think there's a way that this could, fundamentally, the better way to handle it is better systems to just ban the bully people. But in lieu of that, if the companies who make the games can't deal with it, having something like this to basically, I mean, if you're basically like spawn camping them or whatever, right? Like you're making it so that they can't play. You're doing the make love not Warcraft thing to them, right? They can't play because they're getting owned so hard. And somebody who doesn't understand the mind of these people might think that would make them, oh man, I thought women were bad at gaming, but a woman just kicked my ass, so clearly women are good at gaming. Like, that's not how their minds work.
Yeah, that's not even what they typically harass for. And in gaming, we talk about women receive a higher rate of harassment, right? That doesn't mean that there isn't harassment all around.
Sure.
League of Legends, come on, League of Legends is infamous for this shit. And you're not going to eliminate the problem by just coming in and being better in terms of your gameplay. That's not how it works. It's just, to me, it just seems like it's just completely wrong from the standpoint of, if our goal is to correct this behavior, it just doesn't seem like that they even thought about what the consequences of what they were doing were. Now, don't get me wrong. It's a huge problem. It is a big problem. I have seen stuff like this happen, where, female gamers will get like incessantly harassed. Streamers also get incessantly harassed. It's terrible. It's a horrible situation. And, some people have even just stopped playing games because of it. And that's not how this should be. But I don't know if there, other than just having other people in your game, potentially call them out on it. I don't think that's, that might be one of the better things that you can do, but still, these people are just going to continue to be D-bags about it. I don't know what the solution is outside of, getting these people banned from the games that they play.
That's really the only solution. And even then, outside of a complete Orwellian or monitoring everybody for everything,
which is terrible. That's terrible.
When someone's like being a shitbag, because otherwise it could just be he said, she said, they said, whatever, right?
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
It's a very difficult situation to just be in generally, for both the person who is being harassed and the person who runs the system in which they're being harassed on.
Yeah.
When it comes to something like Twitch, it's very easy to solve that problem. You can say, yeah, okay, no, you're banned. I ban you from my channel, right? It's very easy to do that, or to time them out saying, hey, you cut that shit out.
Yeah.
But in a game like, for example, Overwatch, if I'm getting shit talked on my team because some guy just who happens to be in a bad mood thinks I'm the worst player in the world, there's little I can do besides muting the guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And even then, he can smacking his keyboard.
I'll say Borjanon said that they don't know if no, ideally there shouldn't be harassment in the first place. But the thing is that the concept boils down to is still retaliation of avenging someone for what they did to someone you care about. That happens in life as part of human nature.
I think it happens way more online than it does in life.
Yeah, but it happens in both places.
Yes, no doubt. But I mean, it's just
it would extend to other avenues in life. Gaming being one of them.
It seems like that some of the things that happen in gaming on a regular basis is news when it happens in real life.
Yeah,
it almost seems like it's a bigger deal when it happens in real life, but online, who cares? That's the way online is. It's
well, it happens so much online because it's safe to do it online, and I use the "safe" in quotation marks.
Mm-hmm.
It's safe because of you're anonymous online. Hopefully, unless the NSA is watching us all. Hey, Mike.
I guess.
But under the assumption that no one's being monitored, I could theoretically just start typing on messages under a different username to Ron, harassing him, and at the same time saying,
"That's
hey, man,
been you?
That you're being harassed."
Wait, that was you?
Damn, I knew I should have said
asshole.
But because of the way the internet works, I could literally right now be sending text messages to Ron, telling him how much of a loser he is and how much he should kill himself, while also telling him how bad of a person that other guy is, right? Because of the fact that you're anonymous on the internet, supposedly, you get the idea you can do anything. Hey, it doesn't matter if this 15-year-old girl wants to have a decent game of Overwatch. I'm gonna harass her because I can.
Mm-hmm.
And because of it, people are shitbags, and it's gonna happen so much, and no one can do anything about it. It sucks. Situation is shit altogether.
Yep, that's pretty much what, for me. That's why I avoid team-based games, because I don't like that, and I'm going to take myself out of situations that I don't like.
Yeah,
what it boils down to.
I agree with that.
Percelsus says or you could write the messages to yourself to get attention. Attention grabber would never do that.
Yeah,
even though it's in his name.
The idea you would accuse me of that, or even suggest it, offends me deeply. Good day to you.
He's offended. You've offended attention grabber.
This is just as I was scrolling up to see what Borjanon wrote. I didn't hear anybody mention this, and I just need to bring it to the fore. When Attention Grabber mentioned Deep Space Waifu, Borjanon wrote, "Are you talking about Lieutenant Commander Jadzia Dask or Major Kira Nerys?" Which I just want to say I appreciate your reference.
I have no idea what the hell
Dax.
he's talking about.
Just saying.
Dax.
Dax.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying. Kira was a bitch. I did not like her.
Did you like old Dax or new Dax though?
Old Dax. Fuck new Dax.
You like the old man?
Whiny.
You like the old man?
Oh yeah. Both, I mean, they're both technically old man.
That's true.
New one was
was
like whiny and childish, and I did not like her.
But Pixie Cut.
Screw her.
I have no idea
Old
what
Dax.
you're talking about.
Old Dax.
You guys are old farts.
I watched Deep Space Nine first run premiere night on UPN.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, those were the days. Those were the days.
It makes me sad attention. Have you really never watched Deep Space Nine ever?
I probably have heard the name somewhere. Hang on, let me look.
Have you watched any Star Trek?
Star Trek.
Star Trek, very little.
Get the fuck
I've
off.
seen
this
like
podcast.
a few of the what's his name? I don't.
Next
How can I not
Generation.
remember-
Patrick Stewart.
No, what the fuck is this?
The original series.
No, I'm trying to remember what the fucking actor's name who played as Kirk.
William Shatner. The original
How
series.
the hell can I not remember? Yeah, I've seen a couple of the movies, like Wrath
Are
of
you
Khan.
telling me you haven't seen very much Star Trek?
Yeah, probably not. I've never been a huge Star Trek fan.
Hold on, I'm gonna do my best Picard impression here. Hold on. Here, you ready? Ready?
I've always been more of a Star Wars person, to be honest. Although I do enjoy both.
Yeah, I had a friend that was very much anti Star Trek because he was so into Star Wars.
Well, I
They're
don't,
both
I don't
good.
give a shit if I like
Anyway.
if someone likes Star Trek. I like both of them.
Do you have anything else we
seen
want to
more
add to
Star Wars.
the roundtable? Gentlemen,
Harassment sucks. Don't do it.
yeah. Don't.
Stop being such a giant.
Speaking
Sure.
of Star Trek, what does Wesley say?
Don't be an asshole.
That's not what he says.
Oh, that's Wheaton's law.
Wheaton's. Yeah, it's Wheaton's law, but it's Wesley.
Shut up, Wesley.
Crusher. Shut up, Wesley.
You lost me.
Oh man.
What Wesley says? He's a young one. I was going to go to Tashi Station to pick up some power converters.
Wrong. No, someone get this guy off the podcast.
Oh, you're right.
that's-
I'm sorry. Hold on.
Thank you, Purcelsa. Don't. Be a dick.
Yes, I said that wrong. Don't be
a dick. Thank you.
Yes.
But yeah, so I guess that's going to do it for this edition of the Six Gaming Podcast. Thank you guys for showing up. As always, you can check us out over at 6.gg, where you can find all information about us, including our Discord. You can see YouTube, where we have an archive of all of our podcasts.
When you join our Discord,
Yeah,
Don't be a dick.
join our Discord. Yeah, don't. Oh my God, we had someone join the Discord not too long ago.
it was just like, it seemed like a nice guy, but then every message was, "Hey, watch my Twitch. Hey guys, how about my Twitch? What about my Twitch?
Just
Hey guys, you like my Twitch?"
If you want to promote your Twitch on our Discord, connect your Discord account to your Twitch account, join the Discord channel, and then just stream, and you will automatically get hosted by Six Gaming GG. It happens. It's going to happen. That's all you got to do. Freaking Captain Damien did it today. Finally, after how long?
Yeah,
He finally figured out how to connect his account. Even Coles does it. So, you know.
And sometimes when the moon is aligned with Cancer and Sagittarius, the bot isn't broken, and it announces that you're online.
Fuck you. You're Cancer.
And they call them bully busters, whatever the fuck they're called.
Anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Attention grabber, any words of wisdom you would like to leave us with today?
Here's my words of wisdom. Don't eat sleeping pills and laxatives in the same night. You'll wake up in deep shit. Follow me on Twitch, http://attentiongrabber.com. That's not real. Don't go there. I messed up my own fucking Twitch channel.
That would be twitch.tv/attentiongrabber.
Someone
Yes,
quickly
that.
buy that domain name and put some.
I think I
Hold
currently
on, I want
own.
to see attention.
I think I own the domain attentiongrabber.ca.
Buy domains. It's available for sale.
Really?
It is
Oh,
available
shit.
for
Ron,
sale.
Someone buy it and put that picture of Ron and Veg together, the 50 Shades of.
Oh God,
of-
no! But it's not attention grabbing. That's like how fast can you close this website? I'll do
I
it.
think for a
Dan,
while I
Wow.
owned it.ca.
Dan, leave us with some knowledge.
Six Gaming After Dark. Some knowledge. What would you like some knowledge about?
I don't care. Just give us some knowledge.
Did you know that dolphins totally like rape other dolphins because they're like cute and cuddly?
Moving on.
So kind of assholes.
Thank you, Dan.
to
Thank
see.
you, Dan. Thanks. Thank you.
I don't know. I saw a dolphin on a website, and that's what made me think of it. You didn't give me anything
You're
to talk about.
You're
I-
disturbing. Do we ever give anyone anything to talk about in this segment?
I don't know.
Absolutely not.
I asked you you wanted some knowledge. I just gave you some knowledge. Everyone
you.
thinks
Thank you.
dolphins are the second smartest species on the planet. That's true
Well,
because mice are actually
Mice
the
are
first
smartest,
the
yeah.
smartest people. And
Humans are
yeah,
third.
dolphins did their last message was communicated through a whistling triple backflip through a flaming hoop or something.
Thank you. And that's going to do it. I am Ron Clee, of course. You can see me over at twitch.tv/Ron Clee. I'll be streaming a little more often than I have been. And you can catch me at Summer Games Done Quick 2018 at the end of June. So until next time, guys, this is a Six Gaming Podcast. Dan, take it away.
See you, bye.